Candidates often assume that a strong resume communicates the same meaning to every remote employer, regardless of how the working relationship will be structured. The assumption is understandable. A resume records skills, experience, projects, and professional achievements. It can appear to be a universal summary that should be evaluated consistently wherever it is submitted. In practice, employers interpret that information within a specific hiring model. A background that appears relevant in one process may carry different significance in another, even when the roles require similar technical abilities. This does not mean the resume is inherently strong in one setting and weak in another. It means that the employer is trying to answer a different operational question. By the end of this video, you will understand how employee and contractor hiring models can change which professional signals are relevant, and why the same background may be interpreted differently across remote hiring processes. The first system layer is the hiring model. A hiring model is the structure an organization uses to engage someone to perform work. The company might hire a person as an employee through its own local payroll, use an employer of record where that option is supported, or engage an independent contractor for a defined service or project. These arrangements are not interchangeable. Each one creates different administrative, financial, and operational requirements for the employer. For an employee role, the organization may need a supported payroll location, appropriate work authorization where relevant, an employment agreement, benefits administration, and an ongoing place for the role inside the company. The employer is evaluating a continuing employment relationship, not only whether the candidate can complete a particular task. For an independent contractor arrangement, the organization is evaluating a commercial working relationship. It may consider the defined scope of work, evidence of independent project delivery, relevant client experience, operational availability, and whether the arrangement fits its contractor processes. Contractor arrangements can still introduce classification, payment, tax documentation, and compliance concerns. Calling a role a contract does not remove those constraints. It changes the structure through which the employer evaluates them. This distinction affects how professional evidence is interpreted. It does not make long-term employment, freelance work, or project experience inherently better or worse. The second system layer is signal interpretation. Signal interpretation means assigning relevance to information about a candidate within a particular hiring workflow. That information can include stated location, work authorization where required, employment history, project evidence, contract duration, availability, and previous working relationships. Some of this information may appear on the resume itself. Other information may be collected through application questions, platform profiles, eligibility fields, or recruiter review. The source and use of these signals vary according to the employer's workflow. Consider employment history. A sequence of long-term internal roles may provide evidence that is relevant to an employer filling an ongoing position. It can help the employer understand the type of organizational environment in which the candidate has worked. For a defined contractor project, a company may instead place greater weight on completed deliverables, independent client work, project scope, or evidence that the person has operated through a service-based relationship. Neither interpretation is universal. An employee role may value project experience, and a contractor role may value long-term organizational experience. The intended hiring model simply changes the operational question being asked of the same evidence. Location information can work in a similar way. For an employee role, the employer may compare the candidate's stated work location with the countries or regions supported by its payroll or employment infrastructure. For a contractor role, the employer may have broader geographic coverage, but it can still face restrictions connected to approved contracting countries, payment rails, classification policies, time zone requirements, or client obligations. Work authorization is also context-dependent. It may be central to a direct employee position in a particular country. It may be less relevant to some international contractor arrangements, although other eligibility and documentation requirements can still apply. The information is interpreted according to the working arrangement the employer is prepared to support. To see the distinction more clearly, consider a hypothetical technology company that engages talent through more than one structure. The company opens a permanent remote engineering position for candidates in countries covered by its employment infrastructure. In that process, its application workflow collects the candidate's work location and any required authorization information. Reviewers also consider how the person's background relates to an ongoing internal role. A history of long-term corporate positions may provide relevant evidence in that process, but it does not guarantee that the application will advance, and it does not replace the geographic and operational requirements attached to the role. Later, the same company needs a specialist for a defined 6-month project. It chooses a contractor structure in countries supported by its contracting and payment processes. For this project, reviewers may pay closer attention to comparable deliverables, independent client work, portfolio evidence, project scope, and availability during the contract period. The same candidate history is now being considered against a different working arrangement. The candidate's skills have not changed. What changed is the operational question the employer is trying to answer. In the employee process, the question may be whether the person fits an ongoing role within supported employment infrastructure. In the contractor process, the question may be whether the person can provide a defined service through a supported commercial arrangement. This is the central mental model. Resume signals do not carry one fixed meaning across every remote hiring process. Their relevance is shaped by the role, the employer's workflow, the intended hiring model, and the infrastructure available for the working relationship. When an application follows a different path, the hiring model may be one factor shaping how the candidate's information is interpreted. It is not the only influence on a hiring outcome. Competition, timing, role changes, recruiter capacity, and other factors can also affect the process. But understanding the hiring model helps explain why two employers can read similar professional evidence through different operational lenses. For a structured view of how hiring models, geography, and resume signals interact, explore the remote hiring systems map linked below.